going to be getting started with things in just a moment here. Just checking something really quick. Seeing if I can. Well, I can be up there. Alrighty. I'm going to give it a moment or two to see if anyone filters in, because I believe at the moment it's just you, Rippin' Chains. Oh, immediate jump as soon as I went off the starting soon screen. Fantastic. Hey. Thank you for stopping by, Igloo. How is everyone doing today? My ship is in need of an engine seer. We have no one taking care of our engines, any of the technical stuff. So hopefully today we are going to solve that issue. I know there were a few people who told me they definitely wanted to make sure they were here today. I'm giving it another moment or two for any of them to drop in. It's very inconvenient for me to check who's in chat. Oh, there's a giant button that says users in chat. Chat, I might be dumb. It's a giant button. Now, what I do want to know is why does game capture mute whenever I click on OBS? Can I fix that? Allow transparency. No, that doesn't seem to work. Advanced audio properties. No. I have no clue why that's a thing. Possibly because I'm in full screen? No, it says full screen borderless window. Yeah. We went back and did Dogmatic to get the voice out of the head. I thought that was the second stream, though, not last stream. Last stream was last stream we recruited the navigator. We solved all the issues on her station. We did not force her to come with us. We just figured out that the people... Time is fluid. Oh, I'm gonna ping the one person just in case they figured out people. Yeah. Well, the person I was about to ping just got in here. Hi, broski. Alrighty. Oh, I have a level up. Getting hot chalky. Do you want to bring me some hot chalky? Or tea? Okay, I already have Endure. Oh, I can get Biomancy now. Or do I level up my Pyromancy? Oh no. Alright, Orchestrate Flames. The target does not stop burning and no longer makes tests to stop burning. Additionally, if the target is an ally, every melee attack the ally inflicts full burning damage on target to their attack, while they themselves now only suffer half burning damage from now on. I don't think I've had any enemies successfully get themselves to stop burning yet. So I don't think that is Firestorm. Oh! This psychic power can only target creatures suffering from warp burn or burning. If the target is an ally, this psychic power deals no damage to it. Everyone adjacent to the target, both allies and enemies, suffer the effects of the ignite psychic power. Trans or non-binary? What is that in response to Ripping Chains? Mug? I'll take the trans mug. I'll take the trans mug. Thank you. Because I know you like the non-binary one better. Man, these all sound good is the issue. Incinerate requires Inflame, and Flame requires either Orchestrate Flame or Firestorm. Molten Beam also requires either Orchestrate Flame or Firestorm. So I definitely want to take one of these. I think Firestorm. Because AoE, I think, is what I'm lacking right now. Locking in. And then choosing a skill. I really love how it tells you the rest of your party's skills. So that you don't go, so that, like, yeah, I could look at Demolition and see that I have 30 Demolition and go, oh, you know, maybe I want to buff that. But I know I'm always going to have Sister Argenta with me. So there's no way I'm going to get my 30 higher than her 60. Medicae could be a good argument, or Lore Warp. I know once my party is full, Abelard is probably who I'm going to be taking less often, because I plan to basically be doing his role of tanking. But I also don't really have the hugest attachment to Adira for now. I think I'll take Lore Warp. Alright. Oh no, I need to do that for everyone else. Yeah, Sworn Enemy sounds good. I'll go ahead and throw athletics on him. Continuous analysis sounds good. And I think her whole class thing is based on perception, right? The exploits. Yep, perception. Cool. Definitely want to keep pumping her ballistic skill. Oh, that sounds good. Controlled shot. That also sounds good. Double rate of fire, but 25% less damage. How does that work out? So if it was 2 shots, it becomes 4 shots. But each of those 4 shots does 25% less damage, so it's the equivalent of 3 shots. Eh. I think I'm going to go with that controlled shot. And then the new person, who I know nothing about her build yet. Voice of command. Burst attack does not equal area attack. Oh, so the full auto she can do is not an area attack. Thank you. Alright. So... plus 14 comes from her fellowship bonus. So fellowship is what I want to be boosting for her. Thank you very much. Ooh, a whole bunch of stats to choose from. My pyromancy is not warp damage, correct? Because even though its psychic power is using the warp, it's fire damage. Every even turn, gain an additional action point. Every odd turn, gain plus 20 perception. Guide of Soul sounds good. Master of Time sounds good of all her extra turn abilities. Alright, broski, I see what you said, I see what you said this chick was good. Ooh, Navigator heals 5 wounds at the beginning of every turn and gains +1 additional wound for every Navigator talent taken. Healing increases by +1 for every creature killed in between the navigator's turns. Oh. Okay, Cassia's class keys off Fellowship, but Navigator keys off Willpower. Cool. The Navigator gains +5 Fellowship and additional +1 Fellowship for every Navigator talent taken. Oh, these all sound fun. These all sound fun. Let's start with Mastery of Time. Hello, thank you for lurking. Very good to see you here. Yeah, let's start with Mastery of Time. Whenever an ally uses a heroic act, the range of the officer's abilities increased by 3. Voice commands increased by 6. Ooh. When the officer uses an ability on an ally, the ally gains a bonus to Perception and Ballistic skill. The bonus is stacked, but half the stacks are lost at the end of the target's turn. So that would be good for her buffing for the Sister Battle. Half the bonus granted by voice command remains in the battle. This bonus does not stack with itself or if bonus is granted by voice command, but does count as an officer ability effect for the purposes of other talent effects. These all sound so... Oh, and I can also just take one of these again as well. Ooh. Alrighty. I think I'm gonna go with Focus for buffing Argenta. I know Argenta probably won't be the hugest fan of that, having a Psyker influencing her. But we're not exactly going for lore accuracy right now. So her Fellowship is lower than her Willpower. So if I want to buff both of them, buffing Fellowship again would be better. Yeah, I'm probably going to try and keep those even. Alrighty. So, we have a bunch of things to do today, but, well, not necessarily today. We're definitely not getting it all today. But I do indeed think Machine Spirit Keeper is what I plan on doing next. Just figured I would check if there's any side quests. Broski, is this like other RPGs where after every mission it's good to go and talk to all your party members? Or is it basically they will tell me when they want something from me?
Greetings.
Well, my only option that I haven't clicked is thank you for this conversation.
Words cannot describe how boring the bridge is without our stimulating conversations.
Generally, they'll tell you, alright. I am going to talk to Cassia, though, just because I'm curious about her.
I am a part of House Orselio, an ancient dynasty of the Navis nobility. Since time immemorial, our family has served to advance knowledge, pushing at the boundaries of the dark unknown. The Starway Atlas contains 2,843 routes that chart the sectors of the Segmentum Obscurus and reach all the way from the Coronis Expanse to Holy Terra.
Thank you, Luna. I'll keep listening in silence.
Uniting the Imperium's thousands of worlds. House Orselio is bound by commercial pacts to houses Galeatis, Ortina, Drotus, and... There is a dark blue knot tightening on your neck, Lord Captain. I can see my reply is not satisfying your thirst for knowledge. What is it you desire to hear exactly?
So I can either ask her personal questions, or say, navigators identify so strong with their house. It must be difficult for you to not be able to lean on your elders, but you have my word that I will look after you. Yeah, let's be caring.
That would be most appreciated, Lord Captain.
Your third eye, do you always conceal it?
The navigator's open eye is baneful to whoever the warp's ruinous shine falls upon, and therefore it is the symbol of our power. We are the guiding stars of humanity, found worthy of an uncommon gift, and one of the duties that we bear is to guard our eye, even from wayward glances that may bear evil. Besides, I am aware that lesser servants of the Imperium may find our appearance repulsive. The Navigator gene twists the features the rabble are used to seeing, and the magnificence of our role cannot be grasped by their feeble minds.
I will be nice to your fish wife, Broski, don't worry. I don't want to tell her she's beautiful because, well, I'm not. I don't disagree. Like she does have that like ethereal beauty. She has gills, yes. Navigators are a type of. They're a type of sanctioned mutant. Typically resulting in them having a third eye that lets them see stable pathways through the warp. But she specifically has gills. I don't know if that... I don't remember if that's normal for navigators or just not uncommon. If I flirt with both her and the sister of battle, how bad is that going to end up for me? Just saying you don't look repulsive doesn't sound convincing. but saying who cares for the opinion of short-sighted rabble, they can serve us and die for us and keep their thoughts to themselves, is a little more fire and brimstone than I want to start out as. I'm just gonna tell her she's beautiful.
You are much too kind to me, Lord Captain. Allow me, for my part, to note the beauty of your shoulders? Yes, your shoulders. Pray let us change the subject.
Cassia hides an awkward smile behind the edge of her shawl. You become breathless with panic and bewilderment, which are mirrored in Cassia's eyes. So Luna, I don't think you were here last stream. The other mutation this chick has is when she is not, like, actively in control of herself. Whatever emotion she's feeling, everyone nearby her starts to feel. Apparently there was an option we could have done that, like, sealed that, but it also makes her worse as a navigator. What does it feel like to guide a vessel through the warp?
It may be difficult to describe. You see, every navigator perceives the warp differently. My mentor, Great Regent Elronto, always described his travels through the Immaterium as a journey through a vast wood with countless paths. And I, assisting him in the first voyages, futilely tried to follow his example. But the wood would not reveal itself to me. But everything changed when I found my own key to this mystery. You see, I've always brightened up my rare moments of leisure time by painting. You may recall there was a workshop in my chambers. As soon as I imagined the warp as a blank canvas, an indescribable feeling came over me. I moved the brush, going deeper and deeper into my own painting. Visions were hidden within the vibrant colors of my palette, and something inside me knew which should be brought out and which should be left behind. I woke up several days later, after the voyage was safely complete.
Yeah, that's about what I called it as last stream. I noticed that your love of painting is reflected in your speech as well. You associate so many images with hues and colors.
The Emperor graced me with a gift. I can see inner life in addition to the mundane. You cannot know that a fruit has rotten from the inside until a blade slices it in two. I can see the rot from far away. It roils like swamp mud, oozing through the bright peel. Anger and boredom, sadness and joy. Everything that people shut away inside themselves is revealed to me like colors on the canvas of my world.
Tell me about your life on the station.
My stay on the station was wholly dedicated to preparing me for my future duty. Astromancy, astrography, numerology, the histories of my house and the Imperium, as well as other disciplines. For many years, dozens of instructors tirelessly prepared me for my destiny. And once a year, Great Regent Elronto would come to the station. He would entrust his beautiful vessel to my command, so that I could master the practical aspects of our art as well.
I wonder if I have any relation to her mentor.
The Regent gave me a bird from a sunlit planet once. I tried to befriend it and make it sing, but for some reason, it refused, and died soon after. The instructors were too respectful of my duty to my house to waste precious time on idle chatter. Aside from them, there were only servants on the station, and you know they have their vocal cords removed, so they cannot break their vow of silence. And since the subject has been breached, Lord Captain, why do you not follow this honored tradition? Your decks are so garish. Apologies, I meant noisy. The rabble don't just chatter. Sometimes they shout and even sing. Why do you allow such a lack of restraint? Rogue traders are highborn, are they not?
I can either say you have a point, time to have the lower ranks shipped to their vocal cords, not doing that. A ruler cannot maim people just because it is in her power to do so. On the contrary, it is the duty of every ruler to look after her subjects. I do like that, but it is kind of telling her, hey, you're a bad ruler. You may find it difficult to believe, but the practice of depriving servants of their voice is not particularly widespread outside House Orselia. Or, I like the noise people make here. It fills the ship with life. That's what I'm going with.
With life? Ugh, if only you could take my place and watch this kaleidoscope. Every voice is a flash of color. Every conversation a shimmering glow. Every argument is an unstoppable swirl of gaudy splotches.
Last question, so you've never lived anywhere other than Urek 5.
Hardly. According to the chronicles of the house, I was born on one of the Orselio worlds. Oh, what was it? Please forgive me, Lord Captain. My childhood memories are
That's
too
suspicious.
vague. Sometimes I dream about the colorful birds that built their nests in the garden, or the servants dressed in purple livery, or the blue fog that rolled over the lowlands behind the palace. But everything is covered in a rosy haze. Perhaps it is my imagination, not my memory, that is painting these pictures.
Alright, why don't we talk about something else?
You will hear no objection from me, Lord Captain.
What does your special sight reveal?
Sister Argenta shines like a guiding star, inspiring resolve in those around her, seemingly inexplicably. However, I see a dark and ugly fog billow behind her, contrasting sharply with her shining light. It burdens the Sister of Battle. It drags her down. Yet Argenta herself is hardly aware of it.
I wonder if that's the regret stuff she was talking about, but she said not aware of it.
Seneschal Viserion is among the few whose colors are a pleasure to look at. Whenever the Seneschal speaks, heavenly crystal clarity spreads around him. And whenever he is angered, dark blue clouds condense over him. And in his rare moments of joy, a pure gleam of sunset pink caresses the souls of those near him. Out of your entire retinue, Lord Captain, he is the only one I would trust with my life.
Rosarian, Broski, that's Abelard's last name?
Idira's emotions are like a maelstrom.
Yeah, that
Bright,
makes sense.
Unbridled, enveloping her form like a wondrous kaleidoscope of colors. And as dangerous as a twisting warp storm. The riot of colors hides the truth from my eyes. What exactly is driving this woman? Is it her own will, or is it the Immaterium, Lord Captain?
Alright, this is where I must beg my leave.
I have enjoyed your company. Thank
I don't
you.
really want to ask her to tell me about her house that basically doesn't exist anymore. Let's go hit up Abelard, because I haven't spoken to him yet.
Lord Captain.
Let's talk about things that might be useful to me as a rogue trader.
A noble aspiration, Lord Captain. I am ready to acquaint you with all the particulars that interest you.
Outline situation in Cronus
This is a topic
Expanse.
for an official briefing, not a casual conversation. But I will try to answer succinctly. And if you permit, in my own words. The Coronis Expanse is considerably removed from the heart of the Imperium. This means that local warp routes become useless within months. Established pathways are regularly subject to attacks from all kinds of rabble. And in the only major port, the Imperium's frigates find themselves moored alongside pirate vessels. Until recently, the Coronis Expanse could hardly have been called a region of the Imperium. The situation has changed with the arrival of the Lord Inquisitor, but not by much. This place operates under its own rules, you see. More radical, so to speak. But ones that allow for a non-standard approach where there is a promise of victory. The Coronis Expanse is considered rogue trader territory for a reason. Only rogue traders have sufficient military might, audacity, and the rights granted them by the warrant to survive the leap into the unexplored part of the Expanse. and in the event of a successful outcome, to hold on to whatever they manage to capture on the frontier.
Alright, our previous Master of Whispers, who asked me, let me be Frank, so I'm not going to dead name him, and will continue to call him Frank. What can you tell me about his betrayal? What do you think he'll do next?
You know, Lord Captain, I am no admirer of fine art. But when we next find ourselves in a civilized port, with time to spare, I will promptly find an artist and commission a portrait of the individual to whom you refer, with a hole between the eyes. Conrad Voigtveer. That he committed his treachery and escaped with his life was an unforgivable oversight. We both served Lord Captain Theodora for many years, and we never saw eye to eye. He was brash. He was never afraid of assuming responsibility, and he willingly took on difficult tasks. I am loath to admit it, but the Von Valatsius Protectorate continues to reap the fruits of his labors to this day. His service always garnered my respect. But everything else about him made me want to wring the neck of that two-faced snake.
So good at his job, but an unpleasant person. Sounds par for the course for spy masters.
If you are taking comfort in the thought that we will hear no more of Conrad, prepare to be disappointed. You thwarted his plans, his meticulously plotted and nurtured treachery. He is sure to attempt to strike at you, and he will use his contacts and knowledge of the Protectorate to do so. The only question, Lord Captain, is whether you will be able to anticipate his next steps.
Alright. Who are the main players I need to be aware of?
You should treat official representatives of the Imperium with respect. The Expanse may be on the fringes, but it still numbers among the territories of the Golden Throne. The arrival of the Lord Inquisitor has turned the Coronis Expanse into a less wild and uncontrolled region, to the regret of some individuals who had grown inured to the local lawlessness. Rogue traders such as yourself are also servants of the Imperium. They have been accorded special rights and powers. They wield immense authority within their territory, and they enjoy absolute respect in other parts of the Expanse. The most powerful of them are Kalagos Winterscale and Incendia Bastal Chorda. Tread carefully when dealing with either of them. If we are to speak of unclaimed territory, which is what Footfall is, among the scum that dwells on that handful of asteroids, there are 3 factions that wield considerable influence in the sector. The first is the Kazbala Commission, organized crime in its most primitive form. It holds sway over the Liege of Footfall, and has links to rogue trader Winterscale. The second faction is an offshoot of our shining Ecclesiarchy, followers of St. Drusus. They are actively building their forces, and hold influence over rogue trader Chorda. And finally, the third faction, the Explorators, a wing of the Adeptus Mechanicus. They are willing to die and kill for the secrets of the ancient technological heresies that are hidden among the stars of the Coronis Expanse.
So we've got gang members, organized crime, whatnot, church people, the Adeptus Mechanicus. Is that basically going to be who I ally with if I go heretic, who I ally with if I go dogmatic, who I ally with if I go caring about people? Do Adeptus Mechanicus care about people? Not really. Alright, that's a bad theory. I'm discounting that.
As you wish, Lord Captain.
I'd like to know more about my Seneschal.
As you wish, Lord Captain.
Alright, tell me
What
about
would you
yourself.
like to know?
What were you before you became Theodora's Seneschal?
I used to be an officer in the Navis Imperialis. No. A used to be is not quite right. It was not simply a job. It was my calling. The essence of my life. I was proud to serve Lord Captain Theodora, but in my heart and mind, I'm still an officer of the Imperium.
I respect that.
I met Lord Captain Theodora on a mission where the Imperial Navy was providing reinforcement to the rogue traders' army on one of the frontier worlds. Our acquaintance was not easy. Working with people outside the Navy hierarchy has never been my strong suit. It was to my great surprise then, that after the mission's completion, I received a referral to leave my service in the Navy and join the rogue trader's personal capsule. It was a difficult choice for me. But I saw in the offer a chance to serve the interests of humanity even more effectively than in the Navis Imperialis. You do not need me to tell you just how remarkable a person Lord Captain Theodora was. I recognized her at once as a true leader and formidable creative force. One who had built a protectorate amidst the dangers and wildness of the Expanse.
Alright, I'm not going to ask why he was permitted to leave his post. Absolutely, because a rogue trader had the authority to request him. I'm not asking if he was in love with Theodora, because she's dead. Like, that I'm not. And then, do you have a family? He pretty... Again, if he doesn't, that's kind of... Yeah, no more questions.
Of course.
Alright, I'm not going to say you may call me by your name. Abelard, absolutely strike by my first name if you wish. Abelard absolutely strikes me as the person who likes all the pomp about it all. Especially if that question where I could ask if he was in love with Theodora had any basis. So yeah,
Lord Captain.
until next time, Seneschal. Now let's get started. Alright. The Machine Spirit Keeper. I found somewhere in this system. Oh, I thought I knew a specific planet for the entrance here. Oh, is my plan today already going off rails? Oh, New Blood and Machine Spirit Keeper and Land on Rykad Minoris are all on the same planet. Then should I deal with this prison break first? What is Voyage? Oh my! Oh snap! I probably don't want to be ramming other void ships. That doesn't sound smart. Then again, this is Warhammer. If it's cool, that's better than being smart. I'm gonna upgrade my hull. Alright, what do people think? I'm gonna see if I can throw a quick poll up. I forget how I did that last time. Is that street management? Quick actions. New poll. Alright. Where to first? Prison planet. Main planet. Prison planetoid. Sure, allow additional votes. For 10 channel points. Alright, people. Where are we going next? Is the poll up? Start poll. If anyone has any thoughts, speak now. Hold your peace. Otherwise, I have to decide by myself. Oh. I misspelled planet. I misspelled planet. Someone remind me to take editor out of my bio. Alright, banning anxious igloo. I can't believe you guys did this to me. Alright, we're going to the prison planet. Lord Captain, there is some commotion on the officer's deck. The Lady Navigator has left her quarters and is currently in the wardroom, where uninitiated crew members are shunning her in terror. Perhaps you should find out what has brought Cassia to the deck.
My apologies, I did not notice your entrance.
The Lady Navigator is engrossed in perusing the dusty tomes, which appear to have been neglected by the other officers, be it because of sloth or dullness of mind. When you walk closer, Cassia looks up at you, starts, and hides a weathered book behind her back. I can either say it pleases me to see you're adjusting to life aboard the ship. Alas, a title alone is not enough to hold everyone's attention all the time. Pointing the book in her hands, I see you're fond of reading. What are you doing here? I did not give you permission to leave the bridge. Not saying that. Pleases me to see you adjusting to life aboard the ship.
Compared to Urak 5, your ship is a boundless world of unfamiliar hues. And yet, the abundance of bright colors can at times be wearisome on the eyes. The bridge and the decks are so clamorous. In my search for a place of quiet, I was fortunate to come upon this islet of serenity filled with rare tomes and practically devoid of color.
The events took place in New York 5 must have shaken you greatly. Are you well?
One should not underestimate the navigators of House Orselio, Lord Captain. Like a shawl of pale smoke, a faint malaise hangs upon my shoulders, but it will not be the slightest hindrance to my duty to humanity, and my duty to you.
Cassia's response is reserved and pointedly decorous. Decorous. Clearly intended to create a distance between you. Your only attendant is your valet from Urak 5. Do my servants not measure up to your standards?
No, no. It is not that at all, Lord Captain. It is just that Uwe is quite capable of carrying out his duties by himself. He is well accustomed to my whims and preferences.
Perception test succeeded. Cassia cringes ever so slightly, adjusts the adornment on her forehead, then awkwardly hides her clawed fingers in the folds of her clothes. The unnatural appearance of navigators often becomes a topic of gossip among lowly servants and officers alike. It is unsurprising, then, that Cassia prefers the company of one who is used to how she looks. Point at the book in her hands. I see you are fond of reading.
Oh, this. I found this fascinating read on one of the shelves, and I must say, it has caught my eye. Its every chapter is written in verse. I find it so beautiful and enrapturing.
Cassia carefully shows you the book, which turns out to be a collection of works by the Cadian naval commander and poet, Iolus Quint.
Urak 5 had a vast archive of its own, of course. Although most of the works within had to do with scholarly disciplines of some sort or another. Only in my sparse moments of respite was I allowed to escape into the pages of more embellished works.
Cassia gently brushes the dust off the cover with her thin, clawed hands, her eyes filled with longing after reminiscing about her lost home. I hope that you have had ample time to calm yourself and your powers.
There are people on this ship who are far more impulsive and dangerous to others, and far less devoted to the God Emperor than a herald of the Navis nobility.
Yeah, I didn't want to say that.
But I did not need your words to see the shades of umber unease that whirl around your subjects whenever I am near. Were I not acquainted with such a reaction, I could have found their behavior and your question just now insulting.
I'm so sorry. It was the only thing that wasn't gray. I didn't want to ask it.
Lord Captain, would you kindly explain to me why you are pestering me with these questions? Inquiring about my mood and my needs, showing an interest in the books I am enjoying. You are behaving as if you possessed a shred of fellow feeling for one such as I.
I mean, I am also a psyker, and also we're going in battle together. I want to know your mental state.
I beg your pardon, Lord Captain. That was no way for a navigator to conduct herself.
Frightened by her own words, Cassia covers her mouth, pales, blushes, then pales again, and hides her face behind the cascade of her snow-white hair. Cute. You have nothing to apologize for. Human emotions are natural, be they good or bad, and it's just as natural to share them with others. Or quite right, so I'd ask that you mind what you say from now on. Not saying that. It is indeed difficult for me to feel empathy for a mutant, however the crew's well-being hinges on that of its navigator. Not saying that. Or, I believe this conversation has reached its natural conclusion. You have nothing to apologize for.
Please forgive me. I cannot even understand myself right now. Your words and attention have reminded me of life on the station. Of Theobald and Felek. I do not understand. They were merely the keepers of Urak 5. So, why do memories of those two make me feel a strange heaviness here?
She lost the only people who ever were nice to her. So, she's trauma bonding to me. Oh no.
At the same time, I find myself overwhelmed with new excitement and anticipation. At last, I have set foot outside my familiar walls, and into a world that I have only seen before in the pages of books. Your ship alone is a treasure trove of remarkable artifacts and curiosities. And just imagine the things that await beyond, but... My delight must seem childish to you, surely. In your heart, you must be finding all this quite amusing.
Absolutely not. I don't find that childish. We're on a fucking spaceship that is large enough that people go their whole lives living inside it as if it was a city. Some of them not even knowing they're on a spaceship. What I find childish is your manner of addressing me as if I were your friend. Oh no! I understand what you're going through. My own life was turned upside down not too long ago. It's not quite the same thing. I am not in the habit of finding amusement at the expense of my people. Just remember to keep your emotions in check. At the I'm afraid I must... None of these are good responses. I'm gonna go 2. It's the closest.
Indeed. I did not know. That is to say, I could not have known, as it is the first time we are speaking in a circumstance so... private. My word, when I found this place, it was so full of officers. Why did they all leave?
I do not tolerate idlers on this ship. My officers know it well. Perhaps my people did not wish to disturb you. I'm afraid I must return to my duties. Perhaps my people did not wish to disturb you.
Or because my presence offends them.
She would take it that way.
Then I must take
what
my
she's
leave
used to.
as well. I am due to inspect the Sanctum Navis after the communion ritual and prepare the chamber for the upcoming warp jump. Thank you for your company.
Alright, cool. Ooh, is that a scale model of my ship? Can I Testing, testing. Can y'all hear me now? I apparently, for some reason, my mic muted itself. How long have I been mute? Out of curiosity. I'm still muted? I shouldn't be. My computer's saying I'm picking up. Testing, testing. Oh, jeez. Don't be doing this to me, computer. Testing. Broski, you can hear me? Rip and chain. You can. Okay, you can hear me now. Cool. Lovely. That's hooray for technology. How long was I muted for? Since the end of last scene with the navigator. So you heard everything I said during that conversation? Or did you not hear me during the navigator scene? You heard all of navigator. That's so weird. I didn't interact with OBS between that time, but OBS said I manually muted my mic. I wonder if I set up a keyboard shortcut at some point. I did, but I thought it wasn't a key I should have hit there. Oh well. Cool. It's fixed. That's the important part. So I did ask, am I getting these interruptions all right now because I talked to them? Or is it just, this is the normal pacing for getting these interruptions? Because if I'm getting them now because I talked to everyone, I should probably talk to the rest of my crewmates too. I was also saying that based on the way unauthorized is spelled when Abelard is speaking, with having the S, I wonder if I should be pronouncing this rank as lieutenant instead of lieutenant. Event-based, not dialogue, really. Okay. Alright. Avril Vint, Lord Captain. Lieutenant Avril Lint requesting permission to speak. Vint falls silent and then adds rashly, on a matter of extreme importance and urgency. You may speak, but I want to hear a report, not a shouting match. Having two officers bickering in full view of the bridge is unacceptable. Oh, listen to what you have to say. Speak, Lieutenant. I am kind of leaning towards that one, but it's kind of Abelard I want to reprimand. Because if she has something to report to me, Abelard should have brought her, not stopped her. I will listen to what you have to say. Speak, Lieutenant. This matter cannot wait. Any minute now, an assault unit will be dispatched to the lower decks on orders to crush the workers' strike by any means necessary. But I am convinced that this step is unwarranted, and that the crisis itself was provoked by the actions of one of our senior officers. Vint is almost trembling with tension as she delivers her speech, her face extremely pale. Abelard, in no hurry to intervene, lets out a skeptical huff. He glances at Sourback, who is standing not far from him, but she maintains a stony expression. Lord Captain, I urge you to investigate the actions of Seneschal Rusarian, and to intervene in what's happening on the lower decks, because very soon we will have a mutiny or a massacre on our hands. Vint reels off the last words as though she knows them by heart. She has clearly been preparing to say them for some time. When she has finished, she casts an ancient glance at Abelard, then at you. There's an insurrection in the making aboard my ship, and no one has informed me? I would not deem it a problem worthy of the rogue trader's attention. The lower decks, as it so happens, are in revolt. 30-some years ago, we even had a revolutionary leader rise up who dared to establish workers' rule across the entire ship. It took a month to restore order, but even 8 years later, we are still battling rumors that the hero has survived execution and was on the verge of gathering people to fight against tyranny once more. Abelard scoffs. Needless to say, the rumors were baseless. As for the current situation, we have sufficient enforcers to deal with it. But on this ship, the word of the Lord Captain carries more weight than a salvo from 100 bolters. I am sure that if the rogue trader addresses the malcontents directly, she will quell the unrest. I dread to think what problems you will disturb the rogue trader with next. Perhaps you'll ask the Lord Captain to break up brawls in the mess room. I have already given you the means to resolve this problem. You simply need to use them. If I may, your ladyship, sending a hit squad to crush the rebellion as a means of ignoring the problem, not solving it. Where does Seneschal Versarion come into all this? I shall explain, Abelard intones grimly. I beg you to hurry. Time is running out. I will not hurry. Since my competence is under scrutiny, I shall speak for as long as I see fit. There is an established order to the way things are done on this ship, and one of the pillars of that system is that the rogue trader's attention is not disturbed by trivial matters. It is the Seneschal's role to ensure that. I have always handled internal problems myself, so, of course, when I received information about cultists hiding on the lower decks, I took the matter in hand. So long as I live, not one of the vermin who murdered Theodora von Valancius will find refuge on her ship. You were far too heavy-handed, Seneschal Versarion. Arrests, interrogation, mass punishments for entire sectors. It has driven the people to the brink, Vint says bitterly. Now there is a strike on the lower decks, in Depot 4 to be precise. 3 worker clans are involved, but many more are passively supporting them. The situation could degenerate into an all-out insurrection, but when I reported my concerns, the only response I received was an order to dispatch an assault unit and crush the strike with maximum force. Abelard, what do you have to say to all this? I see no need to add anything. I acted within the remit of my authority, guided exclusively by the best interests of your protectorate and your personal safety. If you wish to confirm the rectitude of my actions for yourself, I have no objections. For my part, I urge the Lord Captain to go down to the lower decks, stop the assault unit, and speak directly to the people. You will see that they are not lying or harboring heretics. That way, you will stop the uprising before it begins. Master-at-Arms, the ship's enforcers report to you, and yet you seem hesitant to provide your own perspective. Lord Captain, unlike Lieutenant Vint, I respect the chain of command, and realize that it is not within my right to challenge my superiors. Sarabak bows her head in Abelard's direction. However, a moment later, a serpentine smile appears on her lips. That being said, while I entirely share Master Versarion's opinion on what fate Depot 4 deserves, I must note that this insubordination is a direct consequence of practices that he himself has introduced. Oh, so you don't care, you just want to Mistress Sauerbeck, I see you have decided to follow the lieutenant's example after all. Such behavior does you no credit. Lieutenant Vint, would you say the Seneschal has singled you out from your peers in any way? Lord Captain, I swear that Seneschal Versarion has never granted me any privileges, never once advocated for me, nor facilitated my promotions. Although, he is the man who convinced me to become an officer in the first place. He has offered me extensive guidance in my service, for which I am grateful to him, and while not all my fellows receive such attention, I know of at least a dozen fine officers whom the Seneschal keeps in his sights to ensure that they continue to strive. To prepare new generations of the dynasty's servants, to instruct them, and to separate those of potential from those who have exhausted it. That is my duty as Seneschal. The ship has bays worth of pilots, enforcers, officers, technicians, and stewards, whom I have raised personally. By the throne, every third person standing on this bridge right now was my student at one point. Alright, Sauerback, explain yourself. The ship's regulations state that the Master-at-Arms is responsible for resolving all matters related to the ship's enforcers. And yet it is no secret that the Seneschal has a tendency to show partiality. Those enforcers and officers whom he has deemed particularly promising are at times given permission to approach him for tutelage. What's wrong with that? I cannot deny Master Wersarian's experience and insight. The Seneschal has a record of fostering students who have indeed achieved much and demonstrated an impeccable performance. However, extending such patronage over the head of their immediate superior encourages disregard for hierarchy among your ladyship's servants. Today, an enforcer goes to the Seneschal to report an order from the Master-at-Arms that they happen to disagree with. Tomorrow, they will go to the Lord Captain to object to the Seneschal's order. I notice a pattern in these actions. Slippery slope fallacy. I see. Evidently, my officers are anything but a shining example of unity and adherence today. I have only myself to blame, I suppose. I don't want to mass execute people for no reason. I've heard enough. I will go down to the lower decks and deal with the problem personally. Praise the Emperor. Vent cannot contain her relief. Thank you, Lord Captain. Abelard grits his teeth slightly. An enterprise bordering on the sophomoric, but please yourself, Lord Captain. However, I categorically insist that I escort you. Lord Captain, I regret that the enforcers were unable to handle the situation, which then led to your and the Seneschal's involvement. I consider it my duty to go to Depot 4 myself and see to the expedient resolution of this incident. Alright, Abelard, Argenta, Cassia. Oh wait, I can just tag everyone, can't I? Just taking everyone, woohoo! Yay for not quite having a full party yet. Once I get him, does the engine seer join my party, broski? Is he a party member? Are they a party member? Is it a party? What are the engine seer's pronouns? And is the engine seer a party member? Actually, don't spoil me on the pronouns, because if I meet multiple engine seers, it might be a hint. I don't know. I don't know. Hey, it's Wersarian. Take that, scump. Oh, you know what? Look who it is, and this is all his fault. All of it. Was that a bottle of... Abelard reflexively wipes the sweat from his brow in a startlingly human gesture, and a telling one. A rare moment where he allows his age and weariness to show through his armor-like veneer of self-assurance. The lower decks are a source of endless problems. Sometimes, I dearly regret that we cannot replace all the locals of servitors. Perhaps they could be. Did you hear? They were shouting your name. Of course they were. The organization of the daily, routine life of the ship rests upon my shoulders. The mountain of challenges and problems from which I endeavor to insulate you, Lord Captain. The situation of the lower decks has been a cause for concern, and I have intervened personally on more than one occasion. That must be why they remember me. They do not know your face. To them, you are akin to a creature of legend, one who has stood on the steps of the Golden Throne, no less. Whereas I am the man whose name is attached to every order docking rations or lowering a bay's heating. Let's keep moving. We need to get to the bottom of this. The valves highlight when I hit the button that says to show me interactables. That's vaguely concerning. Something resembling a nest made out... Oh, I thought that was...
We are bound by the blood of martyrs.
Am I doing...
I still do not see our purpose in coming here.
Relax, old man. Going for a stroll on the lower decks every once in a while is good for you. Lets you see how the simple folk live.
This is throwing me off a little bit, because I thought Abelard was the party member who was iconoclast and, like, for the people. But then again, it's Warhammer. It's still Warhammer. I have to remember it's still Warhammer. The sounds of a heated discussion reverberate through the ship's bays. Lieutenant Avrilla Vint of the ship's enforcers is barring the path of her superior, Master-at-Arms Jocasta Sourback, who has arrived clad in armor. Judging by their expressions and tone, the standoff has dragged on for some time already and has now reached boiling point. Lieutenant Vint, my patience is wearing thin. I have given you an order. Now get out of my way. I cannot comply with that order, ma'am. Vint looks shaken, but there's fire in her eyes. This is my deck and my sector. So long as the area remains under the Lord Captain's special oversight, no action can be taken without my express permission. There are only 3 people who are authorized to make me stand down. The first officer, the rogue trader, and the Emperor himself. So not all my lessons fall on deaf ears, Abelard mutters in crabby approval. He does not clarify whether he means Vint, Sourback looming over her, or both. Your ladyship! Noticing you, the 2 officers snap to attention and salute, their subordinates following suit a moment later. We encountered some locals on the way here. Their conduct was outrageous. They even tried to throw things at us. Vint's gaze is full of worry and regret. The people are getting desperate, clearly. They saw the assault unit and they decided they had nothing left to lose. I mean, I apologize, Lord Captain. It is outrageous. I'm sure these people simply didn't recognize you. It wouldn't have occurred otherwise. We will deal with them once the current situation is resolved. What's the situation? Your ladyship, my people have locked down the bay where the strikes are, including their leaders. We have the situation under control as far as resources allow. Under control, Lieutenant? I came here to lead an investigative unit, and what do I see? The rabble is on the verge of mutiny. There is nothing to investigate. This simply calls for immediate repressions and firing squads. And you, Vint, are a step away from facing charges yourself. I want to speak to the strikers. Abelard's mouth twists, but he restrains himself and says nothing. Right you are, Lord Captain. Allow me to wish you good luck. Hope gleams in Lieutenant Vint's eyes. Alright. So that's this way, I assume. I'm definitely predicting this will go poorly, because again, it's Warhammer. A dozen pairs of eyes stare apprehensively at you. The people before you are typical inhabitants of the lower decks. You take in their simple clothing, crude weapons, and faces that display varying levels of mutation, from the barely discernible to the strange to the outright grotesque. Oh, some of the dialogue's being cut off. Alright. A whisper passes through the crowd, and you detect a mixture of fear, astonishment, and joy in their reactions. Finally, 3 people break away from the crowd, an elderly woman and 2 men. These must be the leaders. They bow clumsily before you. Lord Captain, you have come down to us. Tell me what is troubling you. Why are you striking? Striking? That's news to us, your ladyship, says a tall, thin man in the worker's garb. All we're doing is asking questions, saying what we think. Shut up, Rivet, snaps the old woman, who turns her hostile dark eyes on you. Here's the deal, your ladyship. Your damned enforcers are all over us down here. They say they're looking for cultists. One wrong word and they're reaching for the batons. If they want to punish someone, they turn off the heating to whole bays for a week at a time, so we get sick and freeze. In my clan, 2 little ones died from inflammation in their lungs, all because of those enforcers. The old woman spits on the floor and rubs at the spittle with the toe of her worn-out shoe. Argenta does not interrupt the workers, but you see the sadness well in her eyes when the children's death are mentioned. She quietly whispers a requiem prayer and makes a sign over herself. It's all true. Vint is the only enforcer officer who stood up for us. It's clear as day who had a mother from the lower decks and who grew up amidships and has no fellow feelings toward us. The grim man with a scarred face throws up his arms. Your ladyship, we're no villains here. We're honest workers. Your servants. We've plotted no disorder. We went on strike openly, and now we've got guns pointed at us. All we're doing is asking to be allowed to work in peace without being harassed. The persecution started apropos of nothing, you say. I was told that one of you found the possession of a cultist amulet, and that there are heretics hiding here. Was I told that? Abelard, do you have anything to add? I authorize the use of all necessary measures to locate Chaos worshippers hiding in this sector. The specific steps taken by the officers were not reported to me. Abelard frowns, clearly disgruntled at having to explain himself in the worker's presence. Nevertheless, I am certain that their actions were justified. Cultists are no drunken stevedores. Stevedores? They are the enemy and a threat to the ship. Neutralizing them demands decisive action. I skipped it earlier. Ah, fantastic. Sourback, was it really necessary to torture these people with cold? The rabble understands only one language, Lord Captain, that of violence. As per regulations, should the laborers persist in their unwillingness to cooperate, the next step is limiting air supply and cutting off water, which is almost certain to restore order. The peasants can grumble all they want, but in the end, they are the source of their own misery. All they have to do is bow their heads and fall in line, and the need for punitive measures will disappear. Alright, I'm asking about the amulet. A cultist amulet? What's that? The gewgaw they found on the dead drunkard? If it was something evil or forbidden, we sure didn't know. The enforcers just said they are looking for heretics among us, and anyone obstructing their investigation would be punished. But how could there be heretics here? We know our own people. There have been no new faces around. Definitely not, and if there were, we would be the first to report them. In general, you can exhaust all dialogue without consequences until you make a decision. Fair enough. And as for this amulet, or whatever it is, they took it off a dead body. There are no cultists still breathing in our sector, that's for sure. But when that fight broke out, some enterprising folks looted the bodies. The boots they came back with. Nobody's ever tread these decks in boots so fine, I can tell you that. Seems to me these cultists have better commanders than us. Oh yeah, those boots really were fine. And there was no harm in taking them, right? As for the amulet, it must have been pocketed by someone who didn't know any better. We don't need any amulets down here. We all worship the Emperor, and when we're working, we bow down before the machine spirits of the large and small transformers and the servo motor, the same way my grandfather was taught 100 years ago by a tech priest who came calling. Believe us, your ladyship, we are people of faith. Naive children. Weren't you taught from an early age about the dangers of the archenemy's creations? Weren't you warned that any unfamiliar object could be one of them? We were told, Holy Sister, but it was long ago. The last time we saw a confessor in our sector, it was just after I had had my third little one. That is regrettable, but you cannot lay the burden of leading a righteous life on the shoulders of the Holy Fathers. Who will you blame when beasts crawl out of those amulets you stole from the heretics? The Holy Father who was not there, or the scavenger who brought evil down on himself and his neighbors? We were attacked on the way here. How do you explain that? Here's an explanation for you. The people have been pushed to their limit, and now they're lashing out. As if we don't know why these top deck units are being sent down here, like that one there that the lieutenant didn't let past. Our clans are all inside the bay that have been sealed off, but the lower decks are big. I'm sure there are some people who have had just about enough. We're getting it from all sides. The soldiers have encircled the ones who've risen up. A death squad has just arrived. It's no wonder folks are lashing out. Awareness test succeeded. Their words seem sincere to you. Their body language and the glances traded between them reveal that the news of the attack has shocked them. What changes do you want? Would you look at this? The exalted Lord Captain herself is asking us bilge-rats what we want. Well, here's what. We want you to rein in your damned enforcers, to quit turning off the heat, and to stop battering everything that moves. No, that's not it. We want the enforcers gone from here, and we want to be armed. Give us arms, and we'll govern ourselves. We'll defend ourselves if these cultists do show their faces. I've been leader of my clan for 20 years now. Getting rid of these club-wielding thugs can only improve things around here. You've gone too far, old man. They'll never let the maggots on the lower deck live without the enforcers breathing down their necks. They'll probably even insist on enforcers on the upper decks, too. They probably even insist on enforcers on the upper deck. As for weapons, what do we need them for? Before the first day's out, we'll have someone shooting their neighbors out of stupidity or drunkenness. We don't need that. If the enforcers stop hassling us, that'll be enough. In return, we'll find the scavengers who robbed the cultist bodies, and we'll talk to them, one lower decker to another. If there are any more of these damned amulets about, we'll hand them over to the enforcers ourselves. You speak for yourself and your clan, and I'll speak for me and mine. I don't want empty gestures. I want real change. They'll promise us the world now, but as soon as the Anointed One turns her back, these brutes will be on us even harder than before, all because we dared to speak out. The Anointed One. Didn't one of the heretics call... Didn't Conrad call me that? The tall worker's eyes dart between the two arguing leaders. Every few seconds, he opens his mouth as if planning to agree, but each time he falls silent, simply making a few vague noises of approval. Alright, I can ask Abelard for his thoughts. I can ask the Master of Arms where he stands. I can make a coercion 100% chance. Or I can agree to the orders entirely. Yeah, coercion 100%. Spreading anarchy on this ship is the first step towards embracing chaos. Putting weapons into untrained hands would be even worse. What's more, the enforcers are needed to maintain oversight and order. Withdraw these demands, and we will consider the rest. Coercion test succeeded. The tall worker they call Rivet shrugs and casts a sidelong look at the old woman. Old Nan, listen. Listen! The Lord Captain herself has come down to us and is offering concessions. And I don't know a single person in the whole of Depot 4 who's ever stood next to the rogue trader, let alone talk to them. Back down. Now's no time for you to be a stubborn old crone. Listen to us, old man. The 3 clans of Depot 4 ought to act as one. We've made our minds up. It's your turn to decide. Don't ask them to disband the enforcers or give us weapons. We don't need any of that. The old woman hisses in dissatisfaction. You two are ganging up on me, is that it? So brave you are against an old woman. But I'll shut up. I will indeed. I won't go against 2 clans on my own. If you want to make peace with the enforcers, make your peace. That's great. Just fantastic. Lord Captain, we're all agreed. Thoughts, Abelard? The story about going scavenging for boots and accidentally picking up a heretical amulet doesn't convince me. These people were moments away from rebelling and possibly becoming minions of the archenemy. We must not give them what they want. Even if they did acquire something innocently, purely out of their own stupidity, that does not mean they are not tainted with corruption. What begins as petty thievery can turn into a far graver problem. I have seen it before. Abelard's face darkens momentarily. In my second war, there was a sergeant in the Imperial Guard regiment that was stationed nearby. The sergeant took an ordinary pocket knife from the body of a heretic, and his whole unit lost their lives for it. When they finally managed to break into the barracks, they found not a single survivor, only the pocket knife, which had grown through all the rows of beds like a metal choking vine. So when it comes to scavengers, malcontents, strikers, whatever they'll turn into next, my verdict is simple. Give them no quarter. Master-at-Arms, where do you stand? Give the rabble grox, and they will take an aggro, Lord Captain. They only understand brute force, and will interpret any concession as a sign of weakness. Giving them weapons and recalling the enforcers would be folly. It would only be a matter of time before we have a full-scale mutiny on our hands. Well, I mean, both that's agreed on. I just... yeah. It's that whole, like, 90% of the problems in Warhammer are caused by everyone thinking everything is chaos. And so as a result, they turn to chaos because at this point, you know, they might as well. They're already being blamed for it. But also, chaos does sort of do everything they're saying chaos does. Follower goal met 20 of 20. Thank you, whoever thank you very much, whoever just followed. Yeah, I want to try and be good to the people. Who knows if that actually... If that bites me in the ass, it bites me in the ass. It's decided. The persecution will stop, and I will expect you to assist in locating any remaining amulets or weapons left by the cultists. I still need 5 more for affiliate, but the goal of 20 was hit, at least. 5 more is a lot better than the 14 more I was last week. Thank you for the bits, Igloo. Your ladyship, thank you. You have not abandoned us, lower deckers. You came yourself and settled everything. I'll tell my grandchildren about this. Removed cargo, fuel provisions. That's good that there's a cost to helping, because otherwise it's just a, you know, mustache twirl villain for no reason. I guess not no reason. It's Warhammer. They could all be heretics and demon-worshipping chaos monsters. Of course, your ladyship. We'll root out any nasty business faster than the enforcers, and we'll leave no stone unturned. This is complete bedlam. Are you satisfied, Lord? Oh, I didn't get to read it all out loud. No, I'm so sorry.
Consult the appropriate treatise on Tactica Imperialis and weigh every step. Sometimes, though, you just fire your biggest cannon and save the day.
Yeah, fair enough. Fair enough. I just don't want to mindlessly kill people. That is worship of Khorne if I've ever heard it. Because that is the other thing. Like, every action they take to fight chaos also serves chaos. Slaughtering whole sectors because someone might be a chaos worshipper. It's a lot of blood for Khorne. Stopping unexpectedly, Abelard imperiously dismisses the unit to stand at a distance, and addresses your other companion, saying, I have an urgent matter to discuss with the Lord Captain. Please, give us a moment. Abelard looks at you, and his last vestiges of restraint vanish. Well, are you pleased with your investigation, Lord Captain? You kowtowed to the disloyal rabble. You believed their lies and showed them leniency. Next time the ship is attacked by cultists, that rabble will welcome them in with open arms and allow them to wreak whatever havoc they like, because they see you as a weak leader. Is that how you see your future at the helm of the Von Valentius Protectorate? Do not speak to your Lord Captain in that tone. Why are you so angry? I solved the problem. There is some truth in your criticism. Or, let's talk about your role in all this instead. You allowed this revolt to happen. Your actions practically guaranteed it would. I would have handled the situation myself had you not decided to intervene, Abelard says irascibly. Remember Lord Captain Theodora. Do you think she ever set one slippered foot on the lower decks? No, she did not. Such matters were left to myself and the junior officers, while she dedicated herself to her grand designs for the Protectorate, as any true strategist and rogue trader ought. Maybe if Theodora had spent more time on trifling matters, she wouldn't have wound up dead. There is a new Lord Captain aboard the ship now, and I will not repeat her mistake. I would be only too willing to trust in my seneschal and not feel my head of such matters, but the situation had spiraled out of your control, Abelard. Give me a reason why I should continue listening to your advice and trusting your judgment. Right now, I don't see any. I'm going with that first one, because, yeah, that's kind of my stance here. She had a whole rebellion going because of her actions. Following her actions is not... That should not be my textbook. You know, I don't know exactly what it was that got Coonrad all up in arms. But changing something sounds right. Abelard looks at you, stunned, and exhales loudly. Then he nods curtly. I commend your decisiveness, but I am uncomfortable with introducing new protocols in the midst of a crisis. And Abelard stands straight at attention. I lost my temper, Lord Captain, and I believe I ought to explain myself. Abelard speaks slowly, the words not coming easily to him. The prosperity of the Von Valentius Protectorate is not just an empty phrase to me. I left the Imperial Navy for the chance to see it flourish. It was the most momentous decision of my life. I did it because I saw in Lord Captain Theodora's deeds the sign of true greatness. Rogue traders do not simply forge new routes and capture worlds. They create order out of anarchy. That creative impulse was entirely lacking during my time in the military. So I left everything I had known, everything my family had known. I come from a long line of officers, and I embarked upon this incredibly reckless venture. Lord Captain Theodora entrusted me with all the concerns she had no time for. She would go off on her flagship for long periods, to distant frontiers on scouting voyages, and the advancement of the entire Protectorate rests on my shoulders. And then, suddenly, everything that had been built over years and years began to quake, rattling like a flimsy hangar on a seismically active world. One of the senior officers betrayed us all. The rogue trader was killed, and who knows what is happening on the planets. I tell you this honestly, without fear of appearing weak. All this has come as a grievous blow to me. I am not panicking or grieving because I cannot allow myself to panic or grieve. I am duty-bound to aid the new rogue trader, to aid you, to find your footing as quickly as possible. And to do that, I must insulate you from problems that in the past have been dealt with by tried and tested procedures set out in the ship's regulations. Procedures that were established long ago and have functioned smoothly for decades cannot suddenly be deemed excess to requirements. Theodora trusted in established procedures, and she died. I won't make the same mistake. If you want to keep building the future of the Von Valentius Protectorate with me, stop living in the past. I like that. I will look at the rest. I understand, but you need to learn how to respect me as your Lord Captain and Rogue Trader. Accept it and start living in the new world. A world where Theodora is gone, and where you and I have new decisions to make. Similar intent, but a little harsher. The prosperity of the Von Valentius Protectorate is just as important to me. You are the only person who has comprehensive knowledge of how things are run on the ship. I think in the future I will follow your recommendations. I value what Theodora created, and I trust that this situation is an aberration of the ship's otherwise smooth operation. Since the established procedures are working, I see no reason to change them. And I've seen plenty of sentiment and hand-wringing in recent days, but very little competence. I have no plans to rely on your judgment or your tried and tested procedures in the future. I'm going the first one. But I also like the second one. I wish I could combine these two into a slightly nicer phrasing. I went with the first. Abelard solemnly inclines his head. Yes, Lord Captain. After a moment's silence, he adds, looking at you with interest, your resolve is admirable and demonstrates strong leadership. I shall remember this moment, should my old habits ever begin to creep back in. And now, please, let us leave the lower decks. If the rogue trader desires to stretch her legs, there are far more suitable places.
Know your duty.
Alright, well, cool. And I've leveled up again. Alright, we're gonna at least land on this, prison planetoid. Ooh, begin scan? Tithe grade, Aptus non-dead world. Is there a mining planet minigame like Mass Effect 2? A mobile mining outpost assembled in... put into the Blessed Standard Temple contract, the small industrial complex would practically handle well harbor aspect. So to devote itself to the maintenance of its sacred mechanisms and the extraction of resources needed by the rogue trader. Alright, everyone's on the crew. Everyone's on the crew. I probably should have leveled up. I probably should level up before landing. I should probably level up before landing. Alright. Am I upping my weapon skill? My toughness is near getting a bonus. Yeah, I do want to melee tank Pyroman, Blade of Light. Force weapons. I don't have a force weapon yet. Willpower divided by 3. Alright, so I can't get Psyker Majoris yet because I'm not level 14. Ooh, Psychic Powers have a 25% chance to regain AP spent on Psychic Powers when Veil Degradation is 10 or lower. That sounds good. Second Sight has a range of 2 cells more, increased by 3. The first Psychic Power used each turn increases Veil Degradation by 2 less. If it reduces the effect to less than 0, it is instead decreased by 1. Resolve is increased by 2, while Veil Degradation is 10 or lower. The Psyker can use a damaging Psychic Power while being threatened by enemies in melee range without provoking attacks of opportunity. Non-damaging Psychic Powers do not provoke attacks of opportunity even without this talent. I should probably get that if I plan on being a melee Psyker. That's probably important. That's probably important. Oh, I want so many of these talents, though. Alright. Abelard. You're increasing your toughness or weapon skill, or your strength. For each point of strength bonus, characters deal 5% more damage to one-handed weapons and 10% more to two-handed. Your toughness and strength are both a point, an upgrade away from getting a bonus. Let's do your toughness. Alright. What did he choose for humanity's finest? I don't know. Oh, it's that in his... toughness. Okay, yeah, giving him a increase everyone's toughness and then increasing his strength. Yeah, we'll still increase his toughness and then give him stronger together. Yeah. Until the operative's next turn, their allies' attacks also remove exploits and deal plus and bonus more damage. There's so many good choices, I feel like. Let's go with joint analysis. Let her buff everyone else. Alright. She's currently my most logical. And has the best tech use, but I should begin an engine seer soon. Wow, she has really high awareness. Holy cow. Lord Imperium 40. Marcinos 10. Medicaid 10. Lord Warp 51. Let's give her logic. Alright. And the sister. Can I not increase the ballistic skill anymore? You already have this feature. Oh, you can only increase them so many times. That makes sense. Makes sense, makes sense. So perception means they're less likely to dodge. Is dodge also is dodge for range only? Negates damage from melee and range. Okay. So make her better with explosives, improve her initiative and reaction, or make enemies worse at dodging. Let's go perception for now. Melee, flame, and melta attacks against demons and psychers deal an additional +6 damage. She's not currently using any of those. The devotee and their allies in the area of effective war hymn or furious recital gain 1 damage or single shots and attacks of opportunity. Enemies gain 1 stack to the stirred effect. The devotee gains plus 20% armor against demons and warp damage. Resolve is permanently increased by 1. The devotee gains a 3% chance to ignore any enemy attack. That feels like it could be either really good or useless. The bolt gun is a solid projectile, right? Because I know there's... Yeah, none of these talents really call to me near as much as everyone else has been so far. I could just also give her stronger together. What was her choice for that? For Humanity's Finest. Agility. Yeah, but is the bolter considered a heavy weapon? I might just do it will not die. Doubling her wounds can't be bad. Yeah, I'm gonna double her wounds. Air of Authority. Officer increases an ally's resolve by +4. If the target is under effective voice of command, they start their next turn with 1 additional action point. Get back in the fight. The officer encourages an ally who immediately recovers from burning, bleeding, toxin, and stunned. If they're under effective voice of command, they also gain +10 tap. Break the rank sounds really good to put on either Abelard or me when we're in close combat. Take aim, target's next attack will ignore cover and will have double the effective distance. If the target is under effects of voice of command, the attack will ignore enemy block and dodge. Additionally, the damage from this attack cannot be reduced below 45% for any reason. Ooh. Ooh. Buff the sister, buff the melee. Or Glimpse of Fate. How did my gaze? Immolate the soul. That requires a Waking Nightmare or Held in My Gaze. Oh, where's Waking Nightmare? All enemies within the area suffer a -20 penalty to their willpower and toughness until the end of combat. That sounds pretty good. Vigil beyond time. Warp curse unleashed. Scourge the red tide. Oh my gosh. Oh, the choices. So many choices. Oh, an active ability to just repair veil degradation. Requires Glimpse of Fate or Reveal the Light. Alright, Glimpse of Fate. Target gains plus 25% hit chance on the next attack, dodge on the next dodge, and chance of success on the next resistance. These bonuses disappear independently from each other after being applied. That sounds really good. The other option is Reveal the Light, which is target gains plus 20 willpower and toughness. Alright, we're taking Glimpse of Fate. Alright. And let's go stable routes. Strange Vitality is also tempting, but repairing Veil Degradation is going to be really important if I'm having a bunch of Psychers on the party. Alrighty. So we are now finally going to actually land on this planet. Whole party is in tow. Let's go. Ooh, and immediately love it. You love to see it. Ceramite plating, Magnus class rechargeable batteries. So do they do something wrong? Pilot Raquel.
This is out of the ordinary.
Why did that pause? Oh, is that a trap there? Okay. The pale young woman looks at you with a mixture of hope and disbelief swirling in her eyes. You notice her hands trembling as she clutches her weapon. Who are you? Did you come from the planet? Are you reinforcements? Saint's teeth, I thought you would never come. I can either have Abelard. I am Rogue Trader Erroneous Pixel von Valentius. Now introduce yourself. At once, sir. The woman stands at attention. Captain Raquel Vicari, servant of House Winterscale and the pilot of this shuttle. It is an honor to be greeting her ladyship von Valentius. What happened here? There's been a prison riot on the planetoid. Sadly, it is being led by the prison warden himself, the Honorable Anathagon Casteliga. He has allied himself with a rabble that he was supposed to watch, and declared Raikati Philea to be independent of the authority of the system's lawful governor. I came here as a shuttle pilot alongside the Honorable Evain Winterscale, son of Caligos Winterscale, rogue trader, vanquisher of Xenos, forever triumphant over the enemies of humanity, she details, enunciating every word of her overlord's title. Young Lord Winterscale wished to speak to the Warden personally so he could put an end to this lawless treason. He and his escort went ahead and she grows paler. I haven't been able to contact them over Vox for a very long time now. Decision consequence. You were late to arrive on Rekati Filea. Oops. Yvain, Abelard mutters, stroking his beard. One of his distant younger offspring, yes. That's as much as I know about him, which means he hasn't distinguished himself in any meaningful way. Yvain Winterscale has made several diplomatic visits to Urak 5 on behalf of his father, rogue trader Caligos Winterscale. The Great Regent would not have granted entry to someone dishonorable, which means, whatever happened in this terrible, malodorous place, we must aid this man of noble blood. The Warden himself is spearheading the riot. Yes, she bites her lip. No one expected this. Master Castiglia is a nobleman from a respected governor house and a vassal to House Winterscale. All of a sudden, he declared that Rekati Filea was now his personal domain, that the prisoners were his subjects, and that he would never bow to anyone again. It's pure heresy. And I take it that they're looking forward to a diet of sand and gravel. What kind of madman would start a revolt on a barren rock? I'm looking for a man by the name of Heinrichs von Kallax. Is he here, perhaps? Unless it's one of the prisoners or guards, then it seems unlikely. There are no shuttles in working order other than yours and mine. There is nothing else anyone could have used to reach this place. Is there anything I should be appraised of before I set out? Some of the rebels have holed up in the barracks. I don't know how many, but given this is the only way through to where the negotiations are taking place, I would expect heavy resistance. Please take caution, your ladyship. Lord Winterscale's guards mined the entrance so that the rebels couldn't get to the shuttle. I won't ask why he felt the need to parley with the dissidents. I have also been trying to do all the parleying myself, so that's... I have no questions. You may excuse yourself, pilot. The woman freezes for a moment before asking hesitantly, Your ladyship, if I may have a minute of your time. I wouldn't ever have dared to trouble you with a personal matter, but the situation. In any case, have you been to the capital of Rykad Minoris yet? I wanted to ask if you saw a man there, a communications officer by the name of Jaspar. I have not yet been to Rykad Minoris and know nothing of this officer's fate. That's a shame. May the Emperor keep that fool from harm. Thank you for your time, your ladyship. He's totally dead, right? Totally dead. Totally dead. Alright. Pilot, she nods. You can tell by the desperation in her eyes that she is exhausted, frightened, and wishes to be off this planetoid as soon as possible. Alright, well, it is 6 o'clock. I definitely was not expecting all that dialogue stuff to take as long as it did. I did quell the revolt on my ship, so at least something has happened. Disarm that trap real quick. Argenta.
Never doubt me.
Oh snap! Oh snap!
The divine watches over us.
That is a chaos. That is a chaos star. There's definitely heresy going on this planet, and actual heresy, and not just rebelling against the Imperium. Right, so I've been streaming for 2 hours. That is usually what I like to aim for. So I believe I am going to call it here. Thank you very much, everyone, for showing up. I'm going to save before I forget. Next time, we're going to figure out what's going on this prison planetoid. And we actually will be able to immediately jump into it, because I won't get distracted by, well, let me just do this real quick for almost 2 whole hours. So I very much hope everyone is enjoying the interacting with the crewmates and whatnot as well. I know for me that's always a pretty important part of games like this. And I'm always disappointed when I'm watching a streamer and they just don't interact with the party members. Because they're like, oh, we got to get to the story, to the interesting part. Yeah, so if people don't like that part, please let me know, and I will drop it from future sections. But I enjoy doing it. It's something I wish I could watch people do when they play games like this. So that's where I'm coming from as a streamer. I'm trying to do what I wish the streamers I watch would do. So whatever y'all's thoughts on it, DM me, send me a chat, however you want to get a hold of me. Cool. Until next time, thank you very much, everyone. This has been a pleasure. This has been a blast. I'm very excited to hit 20 followers, and I appreciate all the support and love you guys are giving me so far. Next week, same time, same place. Until then, always remember, the Emperor protects.